as to what happened here. NewJack is a pro wrestler, former pro wrestler.
One of my favorite wrestlers of all time, I might add.
Right, and
he's on Wireless Yellow.
It looks like he's really relaxing here.
No, he had to turn the mic on because I'm the black guy.
What do you mean?
I mean, not the mic, but the light.
Oh, the light. Well, we can't see. We can't see anybody.
I know. You didn't have the light on when everybody else was talking, and then you turned the lights on.
Because I don't have the cameras on them. You're the star, bitch. You can't out promo me, Jack. I got it. You can't get heat with me.
Hey, listen.
Yeah, hey. So tell me what went down.
You don't have to turn the lights on when I'm over here. I could have smiled. It would lit the whole room up.
Let's see the smile then. Let's see it. Now, who are you wrestling for now?
I'm on the Andy circuit, man. I'm doing stuff with.
Stand up. Let me see how big you are, NewJack. How big are you?
I lost weight, bro.
Yeah. All right. What are you about? 6'1"?
Yeah, 228.
Right now,
from 290.
Formerly with TNA, formerly with WWF.
No, ECW.
Oh, ECW.
ECW, yeah.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
Now, are you living here now?
I'm in Florida, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what happened between you and Knobs? No, I have a little thing here, Spice. What is this that I have?
Well, that's some audio. I don't know if it's from a radio show or what. I know you kind of talked about the incident one time before about you knocking Knobs out. This was recent, like, 5-6 days ago this happened?
Well, let me just listen to this real fast. Hold on. If I have it here. Let me see. It's queuing up here.
We were sitting outside talking, and lo and behold,
Boy, you sound a little rough that day, kid.
Yeah, I was tired.
Buddy, the wrestling machine, fat-ass Brian Knobs walks up with this ugly little woman strapped to his arm, and he introduced her as his wife and these two other little...
Tony, his wife, lovely Tony.
Whatever, that's his problem.
Like Marks or whatever. And just out of nowhere...
Now, where did this happen, NewJack? Where did this incident between you and Brian happen?
Gasoline Alley.
All right, so here locally?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said, what this Martin Luther King's Day? I'm like, okay. I went in the locker room. Knobs comes in the locker room, and he starts to give this pathetic speech about, how it brought a tear to his eye. He seen guys trying to come up, and, he watching the show, and all these guys got potential, and one day they would grow up to be,
Now, are you guys at an independent show at this point? Where at? Here in town?
Right,
okay,
right.
So you guys
Gasoline Alley run like every Tuesday night.
Right, so you guys are an independent show.
Right.
And he tries to roll up and be like, Mr. Know-It-all and tries to tell people who has potential and who doesn't.
Yeah, and he comes in, he's like, you can be a name like me one day, and, you're trying to live my, your dream basically is my reality, whatever, this kind of stuff. And, like, a lot of the guys were like, what we call greenhorn, new guys, you know what I'm saying?
And they're kind of putting it over a little bit, right?
I mean, of course, and this business is like if you've been in for a while,
right.
Then it's called respect. Really, it's called kissing ass. But, you don't say anything to a vet, you know what I mean?
Right.
So they have to sit there and listen to it. And then when he leaves, then
they start having their
promo. He had to know who you were, right?
No, he knows me.
I mean, like, he's talking down to you. Meanwhile, you're one of the most hardcore sons of bitches that's ever stepped into the game.
Dude, this is the whole deal with me and Knobs.
NewJack Pro Wrestler in the studio. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
While he's giving his speech,
right,
my girl Janine was texting me, right, and I was
white girl, black girl.
So you're looking down at your text.
White girl, black girl.
She's Asian white.
All right, you're saying.
Yeah, she's fine.
Make sure you're rolling the right way.
Oh, I am. But check out my Facebook, bro. I got a nice one.
I'm sure
I got a hot one. You know what I mean?
You're looking down at your phone.
I'm looking down at my phone, and he's about 3 or 4 feet away from me, standing up, and he's still giving this speech. So she sent me back. She texted me again, and I laughed at what she has, what I read on the text. And he turns and looks at me. He says, "What the F you laughing at, NewJack? You can't wrestle. You ain't never been able to wrestle."
Now hold on. He does know you're like certifiable, right?
Yeah, I've been knowing this guy. I've never wrestled with him because I always, thought that what he did was garbage.
Right.
And I never wanted to wrestle with him because he gets in the ring and he'll blow up in 3 minutes.
Then spud you.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm just like, I never wanted to wrestle with him. I was just like, he's pathetic. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and the things that we do, he couldn't take.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm on my phone again, texting with my girl, and he looks at me when I start laughing, and he says, "What the F you laughing at, NewJack? You can't wrestle. You ain't never been able to wrestle."
So what'd you do then?
I set my phone down,
Real calm.
Yes. And I stood up and I walked over to him and I hit him.
Now, when you walk
Hold
over
on,
to him,
NewJack. You straight hit him.
Yeah.
without hitting me.
Now, don't hit nobody, NewJack. We're
Like, so was this about the distance?
Let's say
We was about this far apart.
Let's say Spice's knobs.
Let's not.
And I'm sitting down.
Now, NewJack, don't hit nobody. Okay?
I'm not.
All right.
I'm not. And I'm sitting
I
down.
look at you and I go, what are you laughing at? You've never been able to wrestle.
I stood up.
Real calm.
I had my phone in my hand. I set my phone down in the chair, and I walked up to him, and I hooked him.
I was afraid he was going to hit me right then. Even
Right
though
there.
he didn't.
Right?
No
and,
ifs, ands,
and
or
I mean, with all this, as fat as his neck and his face is, I didn't really have to aim. I just swung, and I hit him, and he fell back, and the wall caught him.
Now, what was everybody else doing in the room? Did they
What
try
were
to,
the boys
like,
doing?
Yeah, what did they do?
Well, one of the guys that really didn't like him, he said, let him go. He wouldn't let anybody break it up.
Right. So did you
So
pop
one of the
on top of him afterwards?
One of the boys said, "Let it be," like the Vader kind of deal back at WCW.
Right. It was like,
This wasn't just like one hook. I mean, you hit him and then you came at it.
I hit him, and I went in.
So you hit him, you hooked him, then continued.
Right.
Right.
So
one of the boys, a veteran,
he's been in the business longer than most of the guys.
he says,
Let him go.
"Let him go."
So he let us go.
And all, like when Spivey fought, I forget who he fought, but when Vader fought, and when Jericho fought Goldberg, it's usually like it's one of the vested guys that will make that determination.
Right, and
like Taker,
Right.
when Jericho hooked Goldberg, stretched him, Taker said, and that's the end all be all, let him go.
Right.
Now, if it was not appropriate, Taker would have said, break it up.
Right.
And the boys would have broke it up.
Right, and like a woman, he dropped his head, and he laid there for a minute, and I kneed him in the head about 3 or 4 good times, right. And I tried to stand him up. So when they pulled us, they didn't pull us apart. They pulled me off and helped him up.
Right.
All right. So now, he looks at me and he's trying to get his head together, and he does this drunk charge at me, and the guy that was like, he pulled me back, and I fell back over a chair when Knobs tried to get on me and grab my legs, and I came up. When I came up, I kicked him in the forehead, and he went right back to the ground.
Now, how long did this incident last?
It didn't last long.
This has all happened within the last week?
It was last Tuesday.
And then afterwards.
So a week ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's transpired in the week?
Yeah.
Oh, I went straight to my computer. I went and let everybody know. I was just
Insider,
like,
the Torch.
and
All the kayfabe sheets.
Exactly. Well, all I did was really I posted it on Facebook,
And everybody picked up on
and
it.
everybody took it and ran with it.
We'll send this audio to all the guys, too.
You're a different breed of wrestler. I mean, in general, you're a different breed. So, like, when you, when it came to wrestling, I mean, do you even respect any of those WWE guys because their style is so much different than yours?
Dude, they get a check. Mm-hmm. That's their job. What they do, as long as they getting paid every week, God bless them.
NewJack, former wrestler from ECW, now works in Independent.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, just gotten a big hook out with Brian
Now,
Knobs.
what do you think about a guy like let's say a legend like a Hulk Hogan, right? While he's legendary, do you think he's technically a good wrestler, or do you look at that guy and go, whatever, I'm not impressed?
Honestly, if Hogan
will be the first one to tell you he's the best worker in the world.
Let me tell you something. With Hogan, I'll tell you what I told somebody one time when they asked me about Hogan. They said, what do you think about Hogan? I said, anybody that can come to the ring, cut a promo, and do a leg drop and make as much money as he's made,
right.
I said, I ain't got nothing bad to say about him. I said, right. God bless him.
Hogan will be the first to tell you that he's not a high spot wrestler, that he's a...
You know what I'm saying? I've never had anything bad to say about the guy, because I'm like, if my job could have been that simple, but see, I had to go and dive off stuff 30 and 40 feet to get my name out there. Hogan didn't do nothing but cut a promo and drop a leg and dye his hair blonde, and he got paid for it.
Right.
So, God bless him.
So let's take a guy like that, maybe somebody else like a Knobs, because Knobs obviously didn't have the star power of a Hogan. Wasn't a high flyer, obviously. So have you never had respect for a guy like Knobs?
Knobs is known for kissing ass. Okay.
But now hold on, let me just correct you though. NewJack. Like Sags, though, Jerry Sags, his partner, he's a hell of a worker. Sags can work.
I know, Sags can work, but Knobs can't.
Well, I'm just saying,
And Knob just happened to be at the right place at the right time. And he know the right people.
Because Sags, I mean, Sags is the real deal. I mean, Sags' shoot style is pretty tough.
Dude, let me tell you something. Okay.
So I just want to make sure that you understand that.
I understand the business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, I mean, my life has not always been based around wrestling. You know what I mean?
Right.
I had a little tour through prison, which I wasn't proud of, but I went.
Just a little tour.
Just a little, almost 3 years tour.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then, believe it or not, I came from that, and I've been a certified bounty hunter since 1985.
Right.
My question
you know what I'm saying?
How come you never got into MMA?
Yeah.
Because MMA came too late for me in age. Dude, I'll be 50.
You're 50?
Man, on my next birthday.
Man, black guys age good.
I know.
Look at you.
You're
50. Honestly, God, you're 50?
I'm 40. I'm 49. My next birthday, I'll be 50.
Really?
Great.
I swear to God.
You look great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So MMA came too late for me.
So if MMA had come along early, you would have definitely
with no doubt.
In a heartbeat.
No doubt. You know what I mean? But I mean, I didn't start wrestling until I was like 29.
Now I got a feeling Bubba's dialing somebody up.
I'm going to see if Knobs will answer the phone.
Oh.
Ooh. Yeah, let's see if we can get Knobs to answer the phone. NewJack's getting jacked up now on this deal.
No. I got to tell you, I'm scared to even standing next to the guy.
Oh, he's...
Hey, I'm not in right now, but to leave a name and number at the sound of the
leave a message for
we'll
him,
get
NewJack?
back with you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
NewJack.
The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at...
Brian Knobs, trying to get a hold of you, buddy, to talk about what happened a week ago at Gasoline Alley. We got NewJack in the studio. Well, let's continue on this article.
Your career may, blow up like he has done and become very rich.
So I don't think I even need to even play that because we just explained it, right? This was basically a synopsis of what happened, right, buddy?
Right.
So I don't even need to play that.
Right. That's gonna say the same thing.
So at that time, he bull rushes you. You try to stand him up. Right now, you get a couple more, 3 or 4 licks.
Actually, I fell back. I fell backwards, and I mean, I'm not blaming the chair, but there was a chair behind me, and I tripped back over the chair. Well, I mean, he was blowed up, and I knew he was.
Right.
So I got out from under him, and I came up, and I kicked him, and right in the forehead, and he went right back to the ground. And then that's when the Russian, Cuban assassin,
Fidel.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
I know Fidel.
Yeah, so he said, he was like, Jack, y'all.
Fidel's always in the mix of things.
He said, Jack, that's enough. He said, man, I don't want to lose my business. He said, okay, you done whooped his ass. He said, okay, that's enough. Stop. Please stop.
So was Fidel the booker?
Yeah.
All right, and he didn't stop it?
No.
All
no.
Right.
I mean, like I said, I mean, it was just, it was one of them things where, I mean, he started running his mouth to me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, Fidel's old school, man, old Puerto Rican old school.
Right.
He knew he had to let it go out.
So then Knobs comes back. He leaves the room. Right? Now he leaves the room. His head swelling up. You know what I mean? His clothes had torn hair off of him. He comes back.
Where was Tony during this? His wife?
She was at the bar.
Okay.
So Knobs comes back and then he offers to shake my hand. Right?
Hang on. He just came in there and goes, hey, I want to shake your hand.
Hey, Jack, I thought we were friends. I said, I ain't
going
to say, I'm going to tell you what I said. I said, nigga, I don't even know you. Okay. You know what I mean? I said, I don't even know you. I said, I know you from autograph signs. I said, I don't want to shake your hand. I said, I'm a nigga. I said, where I come from, we don't whoop nobody's ass and then go back and shake their hand. You know what I mean? I said, we get the hell on.
Beef is beef. Right?
You know what I'm saying? I said, if I'm mad at you.
He's trying to promo on you, Spice, right now.
Right. But no. I'm just like, this is what I told him. I said, if I'm mad at you, I'm mad at you. Right. You know what I mean? I ain't going to slap you upside your head and then come back and say, want to have beer? You know what I mean? And that's basically what he was trying to do. So he left out of the room again. He came back in again, and he extended his hand out again and shake my hand, and I swung and hit him in the face again.
Again? NewJack. Now, see, NewJack, that ain't cool, NewJack.
You know what I mean?
That wasn't nice, NewJack.
NewJack, that ain't cool.
That's a bad NewJack.
NewJack, you need to be in a timeout for that.
Stuff happens. So after that, then he left, and he came back again, and he started cutting a wrestling promo.
He cut a promo?
Now he's cutting a wrestling promo.
Tell me how to promo. Do your best interpretation of the promo.
Oh my God!
Try to do it.
If I was drunk, Jack, let me tell you something. If you catch me on Jay when I ain't drunk, I swear to God, you wouldn't do that to me if I hadn't been drinking.
Good luck catching him one day when he's not drunk.
And I was like, at that point, I went and sit down, and I said, Knobs, I tell you what, there's nothing between us. I said, and whenever you feel like you want to take a third ass whooping, I said, just run right over here where I'm sitting, and we'll go at it again. And then he was like, man, I thought me and you was friends. I said, nigga, I don't even know you.
Doesn't he know you stabbed the man 12 times in the ring before?
You know what I mean?
What, NewJack, what happened there? When you stabbed the guy 12 times.
He punched me. He punched me in the eye like twice.
He spotted you.
Yeah, then
while you're working.
Right.
You guys are working.
Right.
And you guys, who's going over? You or him?
I was.
Easy, NewJack. He just flipped out a switchblade.
And I've always had this. I've always had this in my pocket when I go to the match, when I go to the ring.
Well, how do you carry that in your pocket?
Oh, man.
Dude. And
NewJack. NewJack, easy.
I started stabbing him.
You're not
with
listening. Realize we don't want no problems here, okay?
You know what I mean?
Are you going to stab us?
No, but see, I always, like, when I go to the ring.
Because I got my gun right back here.
That's okay.
All right.
But when I go to the ring, I always keep this. It's always been in my pocket.
All right, so let me ask
That's
you a question.
a big-ass
No, hold
knife.
on, NewJack.
That's
I
a joke.
know a little something about the business.
Right.
Who's the heel and who's the baby at this point? You and him are working. You and this guy are working. You're probably the heel. He's probably the baby.
No.
All right, you're the baby. He's the heel.
Right.
All right. You guys got a program worked out, and you're going over.
Right.
You probably, since you're the heel, since he's the heel, he might be calling the deal. He says, "I'm going to give you a couple.
No, actually, what happened was the guy had never had a match before
there you go.
in his life.
So he's all blown up. He's all blown up.
He's telling me before the match.
You should be calling a match at the point,
before the match, I'm trying to tell him what we're gonna do. He was like, "Don't worry about it. We'll just handle it out when we get in the ring."
Did you call the shot?
I was trying to
tell him to get heat.
You know what I mean? I was trying to tell him what to do in the match.
Right.
And as soon as we locked up, he backed me up in the corner and he punched me in the eye.
So you guys lock up. You lock up, and you got some kind of deal. Whatever you're gonna do.
We locked up.
Throw him in the corner.
He backed me, but I'm just saying he walked me back to the corner,
which is good.
And I told him, I said, throw a punch, and he threw one, but he threw it, and he followed through with it.
All right,
so he connected.
Well, no, hold on. Which being a green guy would be a problem, but you could see it through. But the second one's what got you pissed.
Right.
Right. The first one, kid didn't know what he's doing.
Right.
Second one,
right.
We got problems.
Right. So, and then he tried to go up under me. He tried to run up under me and scoop me, and dip me. And I saw that, and I felt that coming, so I kind of set out on it. And when I did, I hooked him. And I had his head between my arms, And you can see it on tape. I'm going for my pocket.
There's no need to go for the blade now.
Hold on. Do you keep your knife in your boot or your pocket?
No, the pants that I wear, they're fatigues.
Like cargo deal?
Yeah, they're like fatigues, so they got a pocket on the side.
Right, so you go and get your knife.
So I took it out, and I started stabbing him. And I cut him.
Where'd you stab him at?
Everywhere.
First one.
12 times.
12 times. Now, did the boys run in and save? What happened there? What was the finish?
No, actually,
that's a hell of a finish.
Actually, one of the guys tried to come out and stop it, and I was so coked up and pissed at the time, I wasn't going.
Is this on tape? Can we see it on tape? Is it on YouTube?
Yeah.
Spice, see if you can find it on YouTube.
Well, I was watching some of his stuff earlier. I was watching the one where you threw Vic Grimes. Is that the one? Yeah, you threw him 50 feet off a skyscraper. Were you trying to kill him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
No wonder you're not working nobody. Everybody's afraid to work you.
Because Vic Grimes that fell on me a few years before that.
Right. Yeah, he had matched with you. And
I didn't have a problem with him falling on me.
Right.
You know what I mean? The problem I had was he started bragging about it, about me being hurt. Okay, so once I found out he was bragging about it and telling people, I tried to do it, then that's when I said I was going to get him. So when he went to XPW and started working for him, I started working a program with him. And then finally we built it up to a scaffold match.
And then you could toss him.
So the loser, we...
Could he not bragged about,
Hey, I'm not in right now, but leave a name and number.
I'm trying to give Brian equal opportunity to defend himself.
Right.
And to see what his side of the story is. Brian's a friend of mine. I don't want to heat with him.
Oh, so y'all friends?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, through Hogan we've hung out, yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Okay.
And
right now I'm your friend.
Well, no, I mean...
you got to switch blade.
I'm not... Hold on. NewJack certainly appreciates that I'm just going to stay on the fence here. I've not edited your story and told you couldn't tell your story.
Right.
I just want to hear his side of the deal. I have seen the drunken, belligerent knobs. Believe me, I have.
Right.
I've wanted to punch him myself many a times.
Right.
I can certainly understand where he frustrated you. I don't got a problem with your story. I wish you wouldn't have punched him the third time when he put his hand out. Maybe just kind of pushed him off you. But that's you. I can't tell you what to do.
Dude, when it comes to fighting, it's just like one of the guys years ago, he calls himself Dances with Dudley. We was in the ring, and I accidentally punched him in the nose.
Not Bubba Dudley.
Huh?
Not Bubba Dudley.
He was before Bubba. Bubba hadn't came along yet.
Bubba's cool. I love Bubba.
Right, Bubba's okay. But he hadn't came along yet.
Right. This is the guy before Bubba.
And the guy, I clotheslined him and hit him in the face. I didn't mean to. And I told him, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Well, I said, give me a receipt, which, for people that don't know what that means.
Get
that
back
means
at me.
you can get me back. So he got me back.
But most guys won't. Most guys be like, hey, it's just...
So he got me back, and he kept getting me back. So I'm like, okay, now you done got me back now. We ought to be even by now.
All right, let's get this thing over.
You know what I mean? So then now we're still in the ring. Now, they had to, lose the match. And I said, don't forget who's doing the job, who's losing.
He's jobbing.
Which was then.
Clean in the middle?
But then he said, it ain't over. I'm going to get you.
Hold on. So you guys are going home.
Right.
Calling for the finish.
Right.
You're going over, clean in the middle, no interference.
Right.
And while you're calling the match, he's saying, don't forget, I'm going to get you.
You're right.
Why would he say that? What an idiot.
I have no idea.
Guy carries a 9-inch Bowie knife in his pocket.
But what he didn't realize was I used to carry a nightstick to the ring with me.
Yeah.
And everybody thought it was rubber.
It was a real last nightstick.
Until that night.
And you beat him down.
When he walked through the door, I was standing behind the door. And he walked in the door, and I walked up behind him and cracked him right in the back of the head.
Is that ECW as well?
Yeah, I got suspended.
Now, you've also had some other great incidents. One, you beat a man so bad in the ring. I mean,
NewJack,
like
pro wrestler in the studio.
It looked to be within an inch of his life.
Why are you so mean,
NewJack?
Crazy.
Like, but did they charge you with something? But the kid lied about. He said he was 21, but he was actually 16.
No, that was the guy. Okay, you talking about mass transit?
Yeah, mass transit. That's the one.
He wanted to bleed, but he had never cut himself.
He wanted
to bleed.
He wanted to. Were you supposed to gig him, or he's gonna gig himself?
He wanted me. He asked me to do it.
He's got the right man.
Who lets the other guy gig him?
Right? No. Nobody.
I got you.
Nobody with good sense will.
No,
right?
So because you can't gauge how deep to go. Nothing.
Right.
Well, NewJack went deep.
So a little bit of cocaine later.
Right. And he asked you to gig him across the forehead.
Right.
Were you gonna get him in a headlock and gig him that way?
No, actually, I had gotten so pissed at this guy, it wasn't even a secret. I didn't even try to hide it. I had gotten like a surgical scaffold.
Yeah, you cut it all up and put wrestling tape on it.
I just had.
So you didn't even kayfabe it?
I didn't kayfabe it. I just
went up for surgery.
I poked him about 6 times and then I sliced him.
And you just see in the ring, Bubba, I swear to God, you just see a pool of blood.
And you can see it squirting out.
Why'd you do that?
Because I told you I've been snorting coke all night, so it was.
So the last person to gig you would be NewJack when you're coked up.
So that got you a lot of heat, though, right?
I went to jail for that.
Oh, you did go to jail?
Yeah, and then they offered me 5 years.
What did you end up taking?
We had a jury trial, and it kind of really scared me because we was in Massachusetts, and it was 5 white people and 1 black guy on the jury.
That's never good.
And he was asleep half of the trial. So
the black guy?
Yeah. You know what I mean? So I was just like, I'm going to prison, and I already know it. So
now has there ever been... There's very rarely is there charges brought up from what happens in the ring. Usually you can say, well, it just got away from us and things like that. Very rarely have you seen, heat that go, right? I mean, it's very rare that you get charged for what happens in the ring.
That's how insane and awesome.
How insane he is.
I think I'm probably the only person in wrestling that's actually ever been in a match and
so do you ever work a guy that, you work a good guy, you work a good match, there's no spudding, there's no knifing, there's no killing. Do you have any successful matches where, you actually put the guy over or he puts you over and nobody gets killed?
Yeah.
Or do you always just stretch the crap out of everybody?
No. I mean, I've had matches, and with my matches, I tell people, I'm like, you can hit me as hard as you want. You know what I mean? I say you can't hit me.
Yeah, but payback's a bitch, though.
No. Because I want people to believe what we're doing. So, I'm like, I say hit me. I said, because I'm going to hit you.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm
so like the guy's throwing some fists in the corner, and they're just horrible. You're like, man, lay it in there.
Right.
Lay it in there.
You know what I mean? Because when it's my turn, I'm gonna hit you back.
Right.
But I'll protect you. I won't try to punch you in the eye, in the mouth, in the nose.
Follow through with it.
Exactly.
Right.
But I've been in the ring with some people.
Who's been the worst?
Who's
been the worst sputter of all? That you didn't kill. Did you ever work Sabu?
Yeah.
Sabu's good. He's good. He's
Me and Sabu always.
that had
he's
to
a
be
hell of a
insane
hand.
matches right there.
We always had me, Sabu,
I love
Sandman. We was always because me and Sandman was always high.
Yeah.
And Sabu's he's a hell of a hand.
Sandman was high too.
All right, me and Sandman was snorting coke one
How
day.
about Fonzie? How about Bill Alfonso?
Well, he's a manager.
I know, but he's good people. Isn't he?
The only thing I ever did with Fonzie was that me and Sabu walked in the room and Fonzie and somebody else was in there watching somebody have sex and they was all butt naked.
I like Fonzie. He's a good guy.
That sounds like a pretty awesome story.
I love Sabu as well. Before I let Sabu go, before I let NewJack go, let me try to call Brian Knobs one more time. Hold on.
I hope he answers the phone so we can cut a promo. Listen, you want to kick your ass, nigger.
That's NewJack who said that. You want to get Spice like to get Knobs' side of things. Now, it sounded like he might have turned it on. Spice, he might have turned his phone on.
It's possible.
Come on, Knobsy, pick up the phone. I'm trying to, give you your shot, buddy. I do think he went from the phone being off to being on.
Hey, I'm not in right now, but if you leave a name and number at the sound of the beep, I will get back with you. Thank you very much.
The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.
Now,
Well, an open invitation to Knobs, if you'd like to explain his side of the story.
are
I'd love to
you
have him.
wrestling again locally?
Tonight,
What's your person
like
get
I said,
killed?
every Tuesday night in Largo is a company called FUW.
Okay.
It's at Gasoline Alley.
Okay.
Okay, that's where we are.
That's the new Gasoline Alley. It's big, right? That's a bigger spot.
I don't know what the old one was
Okay.
like, but this one is like, it's a pretty nice spot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And whoever you're working tonight will probably end up going to the hospital.
No, I mean, I take care of people to take care of me.
You imagine being his opponent right now. You may be listening to this.
If I was working him, I'd be like, listen, NewJack, listen, I love throwing him in there stiff as well. But listen, if I'm throwing him too stiff, I'm doing something wrong, before you kill me, won't you give me the heads up? I'm not here to
maybe
continue
take
this.
out that foot-long blade you have out of your pocket.
The booker said that I'm going over clean, but we can certainly change that as well.
Honestly, I've had people to walk in, and they'll go in and look at the lineup sheet, and they'll see their name beside mine, and they'll turn around and be like, "I'm not."
Well,
I would come if I was working you. I'd come here and say, NewJack, let me tell you something. I don't want any problems. I'm supposed to go over clean. You got a problem with that? What'd you say?
I said no.
All right, cool.
No, wait a minute. If it's a name.
No, but hold on. And I said, okay, listen. Here's my finish. I get the Bubba Sofa Splash. I throw you down in the slam. I jump over you, and I do a nice little body splash on your deal. It's light. It won't hurt. I promise you. If I'm laying him in too hard because I get a little crazy out there, give me a forewarning before you stab me. We cool with that?
Huh?
See, now Spice, now I'm freaked out because he went.
I love it. Now,
What would you say if I said that to you?
I'll probably look at you and start laughing. Because I mean, honestly, if you're like a name, you know what I mean?
I am a name here, NewJack.
If
Nobody's
you're
more over in this town than me.
if you're a name in this business, I'm not gonna put over a DJ.
Well,
I like the way you operate,
hold
sir.
on.
You know what I mean?
Hold on, NewJack. Hold on now, NewJack. I'm not a DJ, my friend. I've been training. I've been in the old Tom Stone, Milwaukee territory since 1990.
That's your fault.
And I'm just saying. I mean, I did. Hold on.
Yeah, but he's NewJack.
But there's been a lot of good people that do jobs for me. I mean, there's a lot of good people.
Well, I mean, you know what?
Texas Hangman.
Because you probably paid him enough.
No, that's what the promoter called for.
Yeah, well, some people. You asked if I would do it.
Yeah.
I'm giving you my answer.
You got a bad attitude, NewJack.
No. I'm just saying, if it's somebody that's been in the business for a while, I'll lay down for them 1, 2, 3. But if it's somebody that's coming up in the business, or they daddy owns a restaurant and that's where everybody go and party after the show, then no, I'm not doing a job to him.
He sticks to his conviction. I like that.
You know what I mean?
Now, somebody who probably shouldn't have stepped in the ring with you would have been that 80-year-old Gypsy Joe.
Right.
I mean, you beat the hell out of that 80-year-old man.
Well, he punched me in the nose.
That was not right.
You know what I mean?
So then you had to
my
get
nose
back.
big enough, so I mean, he punched me in the nose, and I was like, "Well, I'm done now." So I
And he
just
beat him with an inch of life, honestly.
For an inch of his life.
Yeah. And he was already 80, which,
I wouldn't put
It was no joke.
I wouldn't put a 35-year-old in shape in the ring with NewJack, let alone an 80-year-old.
Is there anybody or anything you're afraid of?
He's a dick. NewJack's a
No.
dick. Why are you so stiff, NewJack?
No.
Why are you
No.
so stiff?
that's what most dicks are.
Stiff.
A good dick is stiff. Ask my old lady.
NewJack in the studio. Spice, make sure we have NewJack's number for in case that we do get knobs. I'd like to do a conference call. What do you got there on your phone?
Listen, I got
number or inmate number?
right now. Okay, again, tonight we'll be at Gasoline Alley. So if Knobs is bored or wants to get drunk or wants to continue from last week, tell him don't get drunk first, but come over there. You know, they got waivers you can sign. And if you want to do it in the ring, then that way I won't go to jail.
Right.
Then I'll kick his ass again in the ring at Gasoline Alley.
But don't get it confused. That's not a wrestling offer. That's a shoot offer.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. This is not going to be wrestling. I'm not going to stomp the foot. You know what I mean? You know, I'm coming for real.
Right.
You know what I mean? We got Dragon Gate USA March the 30th and the 31st in Miami.
Dragon Gate?
Gate.
Oh, they said Dragon Gate.
Dragon Gate USA.
Right.
All right. And that's the Wrestle Reunion in Miami Beach. And then the website is WrestleReunion.com. And you can reach them and get all the information from that.
Can you be my bodyguard?
No, I'm just, you know, I'm just me, bro. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like
an awesome bodyguard.
I've been in this business since '92. You know what I mean? And like
I've been in longer than you have.
Okay, see, that's good. So see, it's like
challenge the man.
Trying to call me some dumbass. Trying to call me some dumbass DJ. That's not cool.
But you know what? The thing is, people. Guess
who just texted me and said this guy's awesome?
Ty J.
Armstrong.
The same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
See. The thing is, you would never hear a story about me kissing anybody's ass. You would never hear that. But Knobs, I heard, is the biggest ass kisser in this business when it comes to Hogan. You know what I mean? They said, no.
I don't know. You've met your match.
They said, hold on. They said you could dust Hogan's ass for lip prints, and you would get Knobs' lips all over his ass, because that's all he does is just kiss his ass for a living. You know what I mean? And it's like, I've never been like that. I've never played that kind of game.
What about a guy like Jimmy Hart? You like Jimmy Hart?
He's business.
He's all business.
Yeah, I don't dislike him. He's business.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
What about Vince? You like Vince?
No.
You think he's ruining the sport?
No. The reason that I don't like him is because they had a TV show one time that was coming on, and they were talking about when all the guys were like, it was one year, it was like about 4 or 5 wrestlers that died, and MSNBC, if I can say that, they came and they wanted to interview me. I'm sorry. It was CNN. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It was CNN Live. They wanted to interview me about wrestlers doing steroids and wrestlers dying. So I went up there and I did this big thing with them. They said, you know, have you ever done drugs in the ring? And I was like, no, I've never done them in the ring. I always did them in the hotel. You know what I mean?
Right before I wrestled.
Right. You know what I mean? And I said I did steroids, you know, a few times. You know what I mean? And they said, well, you know, your thoughts of Vince McMahon. I said, he's a pimp. I said, he's the biggest. I said, Vince McMahon is the pimp. I said, and all the boys are the hoes, and the ring is the track. And I said, once he use you up and pimp your ass out and you ain't worth $1 no more, he'll let you go and get him a new set of hoes and start it all over again. Well, that story got back to him. So he said that he would never hire me. He wouldn't give a damn. He would never hire me. So my feelings on Vince, he can go to hell.
Spice, we got Brooke Anderson standing by.
That's right, we do.
NewJack, thank you for being in the studio today, not stabbing us and killing us and calling me a jobber. Appreciate that. I'm here for you.
Well, you called me a bitch when I came in the door and we had just met.
Call me what? You said what now?
Didn't he? He said
he's talking about when you said the term bitch. He doesn't understand that you mean it like as an exclamation.
No way. I don't mean that. I don't mean that disrespectfully, NewJack. Believe me. Don't stab me.
Nice to meet you, NewJack.
Hey, but you know what, bro? I honestly, I had some business to take care of down here, which I could have did next week, and because y'all was doing this show and asked me about doing it, I changed it and came and drove down here.
Thank you so much,
just to make sure that this got done.
Just don't kill us, my friend. Don't stab us.
Yeah, could you keep the lights on for a few moments?
NewJack, thank you very much. Nice to meet you, NewJack.
Thank you, brother.
We're definitely friend, not foe. Let's get.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much. Behave yourself. Wow.